So today I wanted to talk about the fact that the United States judge said that it's unconstitutional for Donald Trump to block people on his personal Twitter account. So you can go right now on the Twitter, create a skullfuck47 account, and go to Donald Trump and just say, kill yourself faggot all over again, like over and over and over. He will not be able to block you. It would be unconstitutional for him. He would be breaking the law if he blocks you. And I had, you know, this interesting segment made around the story where I would crack a few jokes. I found the even interesting way of shilling my Patreon while doing it. But apparently I can't talk about it. I can't talk about it because there's something else I need to talk about, because apparently no one else is talking about it. So I made a video yesterday about my boy Tomy, and the prophet Tomy. You need to watch the video, right? If you haven't, trust me, you're going to earn a few jiggles, and you're going to be informed of several interesting things that are happening in Britain right now. And Tomy Robinson was arrested, and there's a couple of thousands of people protesting in order to try to get Tomy released. And the media is silent about it. Everyone is afraid to talk about it from the UK, right? People outside of the UK, they can talk about it. But people from within the UK are silent. And I'm talking about news corporations. I'm talking about, like, for instance, Breitbart released this article where they basically say redacted, arrested for redacted, outside redacted, Leeds Crown Court issues media ban, all right? And they released, like, this whole article about it. And it's kind of scary, I have to say. You know, I'm glad for once in my life. For once in my life, I'm glad I'm not in Britain. You know, I'm glad I'm in Eastern Europe. So, apparently, the reason this is happening is that there is a law in Britain which basically says that if you have a court case that is deemed sensitive by a judge, people aren't allowed to comment on that particular case until after the verdict has been passed. So, this is a way to protect the jury from being influenced from the outside world, right? Now, the United States have a similar law, but they're applying it differently, and I think they're applying it in a better way. I mean, this is the correct way of doing things, which is when they have a trial, the jury is going to be placed in a hotel room. They're going to confiscate their cell phones. They're going to make sure they don't have access to television, so that for the purpose of the trial, the jury is being isolated from the outside world. The British are doing the opposite. They're trying the outside world to protect the jury, rather than the jury to protect themselves from outside information. And this is the thing that people are claiming Tomy Robinson was arrested, because that's what he was doing, right? He was basically talking about a sensitive trial. And Tomy Robinson trial is also sensitive, so again, people aren't supposed to talk about it, just like he wasn't supposed to talk about that particular trial. But there are a few holes here. First of all, he wasn't arrested for contempt of court. He was arrested for disturbing the peace. And secondly, the thing that he was saying on his live stream are things that the press was saying. And they only arrested him. They didn't arrest the press, right? So for me, it seems that they had it in for Tomy. Like, this is my personal opinion, right? That they really wanted this guy to slip up. They really wanted this guy to be arrested. And to be honest, right, every one of us that's listening here committed some sort of crimes in the last couple of months. I mean, imagine if you would have a policeman constantly watching over your shoulder. You know, you download a pirated video game, you're committing a crime. You break the speed limit, you're committing a crime. You're littering, you're committing a crime. You're jaywalking, you're committing a crime. You know, like, if someone were to make absolutely sure that you're following every single technicality and they would follow you all the time, eventually they will manage to catch you doing something wrong. And this is a way that Romania likes to fuck with businesses as well. Like, for instance, let's say I would open a private business and I'm competing with someone that has friends with the state, with the government. The government would make sure that every day I get a visit from the health inspection, that every day I get an audit, that every day I get, you know, a visit from the tax collector, and eventually, you know, you will slip out. Meanwhile, my competitor, the other company that has it in for me, they don't get any of those visits, you know, and this is like the uneven playing field where you can basically legally fuck with someone And when that person is arrested, it's like, well, he didn't follow the law. You know, he didn't follow the law. Like, and that's what I think is happening right now. And by the way, I know a lot of you, it's like, well, where's the source of that picture? It's the video game Succubus Prison, all right? And if you're in the United Kingdom, you best have a license to play that game, okay? You best ask the government if you're allowed to play a game with pornography in it, because otherwise, you're going to be visiting Tomy Robinson. So anyway, let's talk about what I do know, because there is a couple of information. Most of it is based around rumors. No one is reporting it, right? So the only sources that are available is actually talking with people on the street, or to go to some websites that I don't know if they're credible or not, because I personally never use them. So about talking with the people on the street, I heard it from Black Pigeon Speaks Patreon stream. I was there for a little bit, and someone said that the police has deployed blockers, like blocking technology, so that the people that are protesting right now, they can't use their cell phones and they can't access Twitter to coordinate. I don't know if that's the case. It seems a little bit way too Orwellian for me, but then again, you know, seeing a British lady having the police coaxing her out of her house without telling her why that is, and then arresting her, that was very Orwellian as well. So the fuck do I know, right? But this, just take it as a rumor, right? We don't know if this is the case or not. I tried talking to some of the liberalist friends that I have. Apparently they're going to go to the protest. Sargon of Akkad is going to be in Hyde Park. Apparently, like, Britain has this little corner. Okay, it's actually a corner which is a free speech corner. Okay, the United States people just can't comprehend what the fuck that is. Apparently in the US, every corner is a free speech corner. You know, but in Britain, no. If you go to Hyde Park, there is this particular place where you're not allowed to have a megaphone or anything, right? But you are allowed to speak. And you can apparently talk about whatever you want. However, last time Tomy Robinson was there, he was also escorted out because he had the audacity to use the free speech corner. So I guess they can't arrest you for speaking at the free speech corner, but you can't use your free speech if you're not in the corner, so they can remove you. That's fine. What is certain, however, is that we see thousands of people that have gone there to peacefully protest. And I'm pretty sure that the mainstream media, once the blackout is lifted, they will say that this is some Nazi shit. But the way you can point out that it's a peaceful protest and not some Nazi shit is the presence of women and, most importantly, children, right? Because usually when people go to do the Nazi shit, when people go to riot, they don't bring their kids along. Seems that children aren't very effective at fighting the police force. They're not very resistant to tear gas. People want to leave their children at home. Unless it's Antifa, right? Because they're all children and they all count as such. But usually, right, this is how you can tell if it's a peaceful protest. And I'm going to show you some images, and you're going to see a lot of women, children, and old people, showing that people are actually there in order to talk about their grievances and try to use, you know, the last avenue of rationality, which is free speech, and it's trying to air their grievances in a polite way.
Out. He is our Nelson Mandela. We want to know where our boy is and why he's there. So if a man, there's the one over there that had 2 stars, that has the authority to make a phone call and to find out what is going on. Because
I think it's unlikely that we have that authority.
What's the point of me standing here talking to you?
I have the simplest solution to all
What's the point in us standing here talking? You've got no authority to do this.
So the point that we're talking, okay, the reason why we're talking, okay, is because you guys have this right to protest, okay.
So the video goes on for 1 hour long. I'll put a link into the description if you want to see all of it. Basically, you will see the English flag, which I understand is now a symbol for racism. I also understand that the police in Britain is afraid to arrest Islamic grooming gangs because of racism. So maybe the English flag is a good thing. You know, I'm just saying. Now, you have to understand, if you're not in Britain, you know, a lot of people don't get, why is it a bad thing to be called racist? Like, why can't, it's just a word. You know, why can't you sack up? It's not just a word. It's not the problem of being called racist, because I spoke with a lot of British people and I understood. It's the consequence of being labeled a racist. It's similar to, I guess, feudal Japan, where you'd be considered without honor. It's similar to Islam, where you'd be considered the kafir. It basically means that you're going to lose your job. You're not going to be able to be hired. People will not want to associate with you because they don't want to associate with the racist. And it's pretty much like being the other. I guess a similar thing would be in the United States having a sexual offender record. You know, like, people don't want you as a neighbor. People don't want to associate with you. Finding a job as a kiddie fiddler is going to be very difficult. So I guess that would be the equivalent of being called racist in the United Kingdom. But seeing so many English flags and people not caring about it means that maybe the culture is going to take a shift. Now, a lot of people ask me, what do I think the solution should be? Like, how these events should proceed. You need to understand that from my point of view, it's not a war between English people and Islam, or between English people and non-English people. This is a war between the establishment and the working class, mostly. It's about the people with power and the people without power. And if you're going to fight the people with power, you need to question yourself, what do the people with power fear the most? You know, would they fear, let's say, a confrontation between advocates of Sharia and people like Tomy Robinson? No, in fact, they would really enjoy that. You can look at the United States at the Charlottesville, and you can see how the media and the people in power really enjoyed that took place. The thing that people in power fear the most is losing power. That is the one thing that would really affect them. So basically, making sure they understand you will vote for someone else is the thing that they're afraid of the most. The reason they arrest Tomy Robinson is because he's speaking out. Is because he is calling the people with power into account. That is why they're afraid of, right? If they weren't afraid of words, they would not arrest Tomy Robinson. They would not risk, you know, people being on the streets right now. Now, I saw members from UKIP who appeared at this rally, and the thing is, UKIP was a single-issue voting party. It's the United Kingdom Independent Party. They wanted Brexit, and once Brexit was done, once that issue was taken care of, the party kind of lost its meaning. Now, it's interesting to point out that the Tories, noticing that UKIP is gaining more and more success with the populace, they hijacked UKIP's platform. And they made that platform their own, and basically people voted for Tories rather than UKIP. And now the Tories are leading the Brexit negotiations, and the Tories, I don't think they really want Brexit. They just want to remain in power. They just wanted the public vote. And by stealing the platform from UKIP, they managed to maintain that public vote. And hopefully the people that are in charge of UKIP, they can either rename their party, or they can campaign for different things and make it more than a one-issue party, because there's definitely a market in the United Kingdom for something else. That there is definitely a hole in politics that neither Labour nor the Tories are filling, and if they manage to get back into the race, they manage to get back into the game, they will have a lot of people voting for them. And I think it's up to people to start voting for them and not trust if any of the other current parties are just stealing campaign ideas from UKIP. And if you make it clear that you are going to vote for someone else if the things that are happening now aren't changing, the people in power are going to have to give in because they don't want to lose that power. Now, another group of people that the British public is fighting against is the media. And obviously it's not the entire media, but it's some of the more mainstream outlets who have stopped being journalists and have become activists. They're not being objective anymore. They're not just reporting. They are having strong political opinions, and they are trying to push so that their readers have the same political opinions. And these activists, in order to defeat them, you have to make them look that they are unhinged. What most of the press is saying is that the people protesting are far right, they're very violent, they're very aggressive. And you will notice that whenever the media goes to one of these events in order to take a statement or to put a microphone to a person to say what the rally is about, they will go to the person that has the haircut of a Make-A-Wish Foundation, the person that looks the most like a skinhead, that looks like a dangerous person that just managed to escape prison. And that's the person they're going to interview, in order to create the illusion for the people watching home from the television that that's the whole rally, you know, that type of crowd are the ones that gathered. And the way to defeat the media is to show them that they're wrong, right? If they say that these people are radical neo-Nazis and they're far right, and they want to do violence, if you're going there and you're peaceful and you're very reasonable, and you're basically against what the media is saying, you're exposing them to be liars, you're exposing them to be crooks, and that's how they lose people watching them. That's how they lose ratings. That's how they lose subscribers. And this is the way you fight. Like, proving them right and actually doing what they're saying that you're going to do is going to legitimize them and is going to get more people to watch them. So that's my advice. I know some people may not agree with me. I think some people would want a more extremist voice, but I'm sorry, I'm not that guy. I'm just going to say what I really feel and what I really believe. And I'm going to try my best in order to report on this as the story unfollows, because I'm not in the United Kingdom, so I don't have to respect British law. I also will do my best in order to reach out to other YouTubers with bigger platforms than mine, people who are friends of mine, and try to get, you know, them to stream with people from UKIP. Try to raise awareness on these things, and hopefully manage to help out the people who are subscribed to me from Britain, and people who are patrons of mine from Britain, because I know a lot of you guys have been with my channel for a long time, and you know, I think that I did my best in order to cover the American issue when the March for Our Lives was taking place. A lot of people didn't want to cover that because a lot of corporations were involved and they didn't want to upset the corporations. And now you have a similar issue in Britain. And if I can do a little bit of good, I'll do my best to do so. Also, don't forget about that particular old lady. Like, I don't know her name. If any of you know her name and would like me to have her on stream or something, try to give it to me on the Twitter. You know, she's the old lady that went into Hyde Park and was asking police officers, why are Muslims allowed to pray and break the rules, because no one is allowed to pray. And a couple of days later, the police coaxed her out of her house, pushed her face down on the ground and arrested her. And that was really fucked up, in my opinion. So yeah, I would like to speak to her about it, and I hope that people who go to these protests, you know, have a picture of her, because she's not famous. You know, people don't know about her, but her situation is just as messed up as Tomy's. So, yeah, let me know what you think. Looking forward to read you guys in the comment section. And I'll have a more lighthearted, funny video tomorrow.